to the roots of the Quranic Revolution. How far did that go back?
It's a very important question because it brings back a lot of memories about Muhammad Gambia, rahimahullah, Allah give him Jannatul Firdaus, Al-A'la, Ameen, because he really did, him and the Boise, they really did push for the probing, and they worked on it very well. Now what happened is that when the declaration was made, it was just as if it was just a terminology, it was just like, okay, yes, there is that, but there needs to be a clarity on what could even substantiate this. What is the background of having the authority or having the ability, having the intelligence and the capacity to say that these things actually exist in an orderly form, okay? So, when this took place, then the probing really was about when was the first interaction with the Quran? When was the first application of what is being called about today? How deep does it go? And we found out actually it went back because what we did was the history of Islam in Richmond, Virginia. We were able to speak 27 years back. In 2022, we were able to say that 27 years ago, before any of these West End masjids were here or centers were here or any of these other places, this was transpiring. We were able to say that, but what even gave us that vision, what put us in that predicament, that goes back even beyond 40 years. And I think, some members who are sitting here today, can attest to that fact, that indeed, when the first studies of the Quran or the first mission of the Quran transpired back in 1982-83, okay? And the planning of that, we can say, took place even a year or two earlier. So we have, elders who can go even further than that, but at this time, what we can witness and allege to have clear indication of, in all the probing that we managed to do throughout, okay, is that it at least goes back, the roots of it go back at least 28 years. And that does not include actual training that gave, again, the legitimacy to that phase. You understand? Because if we say 1995, then this is where the Quranic effort in Richmond, Virginia actually began. But mind you that there was a mission in Africa from 1983 to 1995. I think you can relate to that. So does that answer that question well, or do you think maybe, do you have anything to add on to that, Attaché? No. Okay, no add-ons. I mean, if I have to do it all, then why not, But I think that, everyone who is here can verify that as well. I mean, we're all on the same page.
I think that answers that question. Moderator, does that answer the question? Does that answer that question too? You good?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go on to question 3.
Yes.
Who is the Quranic Revolution here for? Who is it here for? The Quranic Revolution.
I do believe, that just as the Quran is here for everyone, because the Creator created us all. He did not create us in vain. He created us with guidance. He created us with compassion, with love. All of us. Not a single human being was created by another creator other than Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. And He gave us the Quran to learn of Him and to understand how He acts with his allegiance towards us and how we should act with His allegiance towards Him. You see, so it's for everyone. Everyone needs peace. This is Al-Islam. There's nothing that you can do without peace. This is divine peace that increases, that is beyond our imagination. Who does not need this? Who can have something else without this and call themselves to be successful? No one. It's very simple. But again, the Iblisis whether in Richmond, Virginia, or whether right here in, in the northern sector or the southern, it does not matter. They keep making things difficult in terms of the message of the Shahada, the message of the Quran. Because of their masters, the colonialists encouraged them, you understand, to keep the message separate from those that it's destined for. And you have, again, so many, we dealt with a number of, you understand, rigid regiments, in the vicinity. But at the end of the day, the Quran, who can oppose the Quran when it's Allah's Jalla Jalaluhu's word and He elevates it no matter what? The junta's in charge. So I think that, that answers your question there. And, it's sad in some ways, but in some ways, actually, it is, entertaining. And I have to say that, to have the knowledge and the information that Allah has destined for us, it gives us a serious leverage. Very serious leverage, yes.
Yeah, I think that you answered question 3 for the audience, for the individuals that are listening, for listeners. We're going to go on to question 4, and if you could describe the true challenges of the Quranic revolution, the true challenges and the true foes for those who aren't aware.
Well, we actually, and it's very important and it's very good you mentioned this, we had a survey we were conducting, where we were interviewing, and we interviewed close to 100 people, okay? And at the end of the day, the biggest issue, and you have so many issues in the society, they range anywhere from, destitution all the way up to, mental illnesses. So they range from anywhere, But the point of the matter is this. When a person decides that they're not going to recognize their Creator, it opens up, you understand, room for all other type of atrocities. This is something that, people need to come clear cut about. The matter is misinformation. You've been misinformed. You've been misgiven the guidance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. And you know that because you look at the Muslim countries. They would have, and even today, Islamic schools in non-Muslim countries. You have grade 1 through 12, but you cannot assure that any student who sat through 12 years would not get this one Quran, one book. They would not finish it, but you have them reading all other kind of books. This one book, they were not just the fact that they in 12 years, not only they could read it, but they could write it, they could explain it, they could describe it, they could do so many things in 12 years. They could do it so well, it could be done so well that they actually apply it to it's supposed to be applied. But they're neglecting that. This is the biggest criminality or the biggest crime on earth. There's no crime bigger than this, where you know and you accept the fact that, yes, I have a Creator, yes, He gave me this message, and I don't care about it. Or, yes, I know that there is a serious deficiency in my educational structure of my Maker, but I have other things to do. How serious is this? This is horrible. And the biggest obstacle is the fact that, people remain oblivious about it and decide not to do anything intentionally. And that's why they intentionally remain oblivious as well. So, and of course, when you think about it, again, people are destitute. They come to the masjid because of the fact that they're not Indian, they're not Pakistani, or they're not Arab, and they don't find that group of people there. They get turned away, or they get humiliated. That's not what Islam says. Where you have a person, they bring, sadaqah to the masjid, and because of the fact that it's not money, they belittled. Okay? Or where you have our young boys coming, trying to learn about Islam because of the fact that they're African American, they're not welcome. You understand? You have also where people, again, are in authority of a Muslim community without adequate training or information. Even people that they're hiring, they don't have it, and they know it better. Imagine again, we went to a khutbah, and the man did not speak anything other than Arabic in a very fast way. The khutbah was over in 7 minutes. People who come just for khutbah, what are they supposed to get out of that? If they don't understand Arabic, what are they? So even those of us who understood Arabic, we cannot hear this man talk. The disunity, you understand, the division is baffling. Nobody claims to have money. Everybody walks around poor at the masjid, but yet the aristocrats, they still throw their parties on Friday night. You understand? Where they're just working harder and harder to build bigger buildings and to get politicians inside of them to show them that, we can stand for Democrats this year. It's not right. These are all examples, They do not know how to, unfortunately, administer what it is that needs to be administered. I mean, this is the problem. Where you have lack of, at one point in Richmond, Virginia, you had 5 Islamic schools. How did you downstream them all now to one school? The one school that middle class, lower middle class families cannot afford for their children. Who is this school supposed to be for? Islam is supposed to be easy. We're supposed to have our zakah system, our jizya system is a whole lot better than this, this taxes even you have here. Everybody would live well. You cannot even apply that and employ that in a community enough to keep you away from asking and begging people for funds and doing fundraising and doing your little schemes. On top of that, you're charging people over $500 and more if they want to ride the school bus. Is this some kind of a game or some kind of a joke? This is the problem. If somebody is ready to do something about it, you understand, then yes, we can say that at least they hate it in their hearts. But the worst thing is that they don't even hate it in their hearts. Some people, they literally do not want to know of any problems because they feel like when they go in front of Allah, they're going to be responsible, although they're not considering. Allah will say to you, why is it that you did not want to know? Oh, because you didn't want to be responsible. Although I gave you everything and you were a responsibility for so many other things, but you did not want to be responsible for this. Why not? And this was your main purpose in life, was to be in service to me. So this is the problem. So I think that answers that question.
So I have a question.
And of course, as we mentioned, the destitute and the needy, one very important point is that there is no staff in the Richmond, Virginia masajids. The staffing, they charge people, for whatever it is that they charge them, or they raise funds to build these big buildings. You go there during the salah time and it's locked altogether. The example I told you before where this person drops off some sadaqah and it's closed, the masjid is locked and they get upset about it and they humiliate the individual. All these things. What they did during the Ramadan of 2021, as that sparked the situation, you understand, made it very clear that no, it could not continue.
So what I'm understanding here, as you're answering the question, is what I hear you saying is one of the challenges, or the main challenge, and one of the main the true foes is what someone could call the gentrification, modernization of Islam to fit needs or to fit the societal image.
So what we know actually transpired for a fact is what the Quran says transpired. The Quran says that there was a compromise in the religion, that there was a point of loneliness. And because of the fact that the Quran itself was not being applied, yes, the Muslim world until today has remained under occupation of non-Muslims. So this is what has happened. This is what has transpired. All because Muslims have left the word of Allah, disobedience to Allah. You are in the military, US military, you know for a fact, insubordination is unacceptable. You cannot be insubordinate and disciplined at the same time. Islam is all a discipline. How are you going to say you're not going to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala but yet you believe in what He said? It's impossible. So this is the issue. So the Quranic revolution has come to make it clear that this reform will and has began taking place. This is the aftermath of the Mubahala. It is not a joke. It is very serious.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Question 5. We have question 5 as revisit of past events, hostilities that happened during the early declaration of the Quranic Revolution under Muhammad Gambia.
Rahimahullah.
And when he was eliminated. And so tell us about that, and tell us about the new leader of the Republic of Shahada.
Yeah, so we had a very serious, encounter. The hostilities in the early days of the revolution, the Secret Service among them, other surveillance and intelligence U.S. official agencies came to our locations. And of course, there were, other type of hostilities, such as the cutting off or discontinuation of our supply chain. But obviously, the Iblis did not realize that, we were really focused on the Quran, and Muhammad Gambia, was really passionate to a point of no return. So, we stood our ground. We did not allow to take any bribes. Nobody was allowed to interact and intermingle and show a happy, smiley face. Yes, the smile is always going to be there. But we're not going to sit and, just collaborate and, work with Iblises on foolishness either, So this was the earlier days of the declaration of the revolution. We did lose a few of our own. Later on, as Commander Mine, of course, those who listened to the breaking news understood the severity that he was in. And yet, Rahimahullah, Muhammadu Gambia lost his life there, and his decrees, or his last, decree was to, be remembered as the iconic, seed of the revolution declaration. So now, we are aware of the new leader. Of course, we saw in the session of Commander Mine there